Imagine if traveling from Luzon to the Visayas felt just like driving from Manila to Batangas. No ferry lines, no storm delays, no 6-hour wait just to cross a stretch of water that should take barely 90 minutes. For millions of Filipinos, that idea isn't theoretical, it's personal. Every holiday traffic jam in Matnog, every stranded trucker watching perishable cargo spoil, every family stuck on the highway while the weather decides whether they move or not. These moments reveal a harsh economic truth. In a modern, fast-moving economy, water gaps without permanent links aren't just geography, they're bottlenecks. Today, the connection between Luzon and the Visayas still relies almost entirely on roll-on, roll-off ferries crossing the San Bernardino Strait. On paper, it's a quick hop. In reality, it is one of the most fragile logistical choke points in the entire country. Weather shuts it down, holidays overwhelm it, peak seasons paralyze it. During recent Christmas surges, vehicle lines stretch for kilometers, turning national highways into open-air parking lots and turning lost hours into lost income. The problem isn't poor management, the problem is scale. RORO ferries are great for flexibility, but flexibility only works when demand is seasonal, not structural. And the Philippines crossed that line years ago. Other island nations reached this same decision point and chose differently. Japan, frequently battered by storms, didn't rely forever on ferries to connect Honshu, Shikoku, and Kyushu. It built bridges and tunnels. Denmark linked its islands with permanent sea crossings. China stitched together its coastal archipelagos with mega bridges and subsea tunnels. Not because ferries failed, but because ferries alone could never support a 21st century economy. Across the world, one lesson is universal. Once traffic hits a certain threshold, mobility must be infrastructure-based, not service-based. The Philippines is at that threshold now. High logistics costs in the country aren't driven by distance. They're driven by discontinuity. Every forced stop, every weather-related delay, every port bottleneck compounds into higher food prices, higher shipping costs, slower industrial growth, and widening regional inequality. Economists warn that island nations without fixed links pay a hidden archipelago tax on every shipment they move. Over time, that tax drains competitiveness, discourages investment, and undermines inclusive growth. This is why a Luzon Visayas fixed link is no longer a prestige idea or a futuristic dream. It's the same kind of structural shift Metro Manila faced before finally embracing a subway system. Once surface-only solutions max out, underground or undersea solutions become inevitable. And a fixed link wouldn't eliminate ferries. It would stabilize the entire system around them. It would turn an unpredictable crossing into a reliable corridor. It would turn geography from a barrier into an advantage. Because at its core, this project isn't about engineering bravado. It's about national integration. In an archipelago, connectivity is destiny. And every year the Philippines delays bridging its most vital internal gap. The more that gap quietly taxes the nation's growth, resilience, and opportunities, one stalled crossing at a time. The Luzon Visayas link is built around one simple idea. The sea should no longer decide when the country moves. The proposal envisions a permanent 28-kilometer link across the San Bernardino Strait, waters respected by sailors and dreaded by logistics planners for the same reason. Whether the final design becomes a long-span bridge, an undersea tunnel, or a hybrid bridge-tunnel system used in some of the world's toughest waters, the goal is constant, uninterrupted, 24/7, year-round movement of people, goods, and vehicles between Luzon and the Visayas. The engineering playbook is intentionally flexible, not uncertain. A multi-tower cable-stayed bridge could become a national icon. An undersea tunnel would eliminate weather risk entirely, protected from typhoons, waves, and currents. A hybrid system, now considered best practice globally, allows designers to adapt to deep waters, strong currents, and complex seabed conditions. As one international engineering consultant famously said, "Mega projects succeed when design follows geography, not ego." This kind of project is bold, but not unprecedented. China's 55-kilometer Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau bridge combines bridges and tunnels and handles over 150,000 vehicles a day, built to survive typhoons. Japan's Akashi Kaikyo Bridge, with a 2-kilometer main span, was engineered for magnitude 8 earthquakes and 280 kilometers per hour winds, conditions similar to the San Bernardino Strait. Both projects were once dismissed as impossible. Today, they're indispensable. What makes the Luzon Visayas link uniquely important is that it must be designed not just for normal conditions, but for extremes. Engineers planning the Luzon Visayas Fixed Link are preparing for the worst nature can throw at them. The design must withstand magnitude 8 earthquakes, super typhoon winds topping 300 kilometers per hour, and some of the fastest tidal currents in the Philippine archipelago. Global infrastructure insurers note that building for climate resilience adds 10 to 15% to the upfront cost, but cuts long-term disruptions and economic losses by several multiples. In human terms, this means fewer families stranded during storms, fewer shipments spoiling on the roadside, and far fewer moments when entire regions are forced to wait helplessly until the weather calms. This project is more than steel, concrete, and cables. It's a statement of national confidence. Former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe once said that major connectivity projects are bridges of resolve, physical proof that a nation believes in the future it's building. In the Philippine context, a fixed Luzon Visayas link sends a similar message, that geography will no longer dictate who gets opportunity, that resilience will be engineered into the country's future, and that Filipino engineering deserves a place among the world's most ambitious megaprojects. Ultimately, the success of this project isn't measured by how long the bridge is or how deep the tunnel goes. Success is when crossing between Luzon and the Visayas becomes ordinary, normal, smooth, predictable. When movement isn't an event, but a guarantee. That is the real vision behind the Luzon Visayas Fixed Link. Not spectacle, permanence. At the center of this vision is a route that looks almost obvious once you examine the map. Matnog in southern Luzon to Allen in northern Samar. For generations, this narrow stretch across the San Bernardino Strait has been the country's logistical hinge, the place where buses come to a stop, trucks form endless lines, and time itself seems to slow down. From a planning perspective, this alignment isn't just logical, it's strategic. It shortens travel distance, avoids unnecessary detours, and focuses investment exactly where demand has already been proven for decades. Engineers aren't bulldozing their way across the ocean. They're designing with precision and restraint. They're choosing routes that minimize disruption to sensitive marine ecosystems, avoid major international shipping lanes, make use of seabed conditions identified as relatively stable in early surveys. This approach matters. Modern megaprojects aren't judged solely on whether they can be built, but on whether they can coexist with the environment and nearby communities. As an Asian Development Bank infrastructure brief bluntly puts it, projects that ignore environmental and navigational realities don't fail instantly. They fail politically and socially over time. The San Bernardino Strait is no gentle crossing. Currents can be violent. Depths shift dramatically. The seabed changes character over short distances. That's why designers are using advanced hydrodynamic modeling, the same tools used in Scandinavia and East Asia, to build cross-sea tunnels and long-span bridges in some of the world's toughest waters. Deep water foundations reaching 70 to 90 meters may be needed in certain segments to resist scouring, seismic forces, and long-term structural fatigue. These aren't experimental techniques, they are standard methods now used in offshore wind farms and global sea crossing projects. Environmental integration isn't an afterthought, it's a central design pillar. A full environmental impact assessment would examine marine biodiversity, fisheries, livelihoods, coastal sediment movement. These aren't just ecological issues. They directly affect communities who rely on delicate land-sea interactions for survival. Studies from comparable international projects show that early integration of fisheries data and sediment modeling can reduce long-term environmental disruption by up to 40%. Put plainly, fewer unintended consequences for the fishermen whose lives depend on these waters. To balance ambition with responsibility, the fixed link is being structured as a phased development, not a single leap. Expectations for cost and scale are deliberately grounded, ensuring the project remains achievable, financeable, and resilient from day one. The projected cost of the Luzon Visayas Fixed Link falls in the hundreds of billions of pesos, putting it in the same league as the Metro Manila subway. And that comparison isn't a coincidence, it's a lesson. The subway proves something many once doubted. The Philippines can plan, finance, and execute world-class megaprojects when governance, funding, and technical discipline align. The fixed link would likely follow a similar model, structured as a foreign-assisted project backed by institutions like JICA or the Asian Development Bank, potentially blended with public-private partnership mechanisms to spread risk and attract long-term investors. At its core, this funding structure sends one message. The Luzon Visayas Fixed Link isn't a flashy political slogan. It's a serious national commitment, built to withstand storms, audits, and decades of nonstop use. In fact, the governance framework itself begins turning a bold idea into a manageable, realistic undertaking. Because in the real world, mega projects don't succeed because they're ambitious. They succeed because they're disciplined, predictable, and boring in all the right ways. The country doesn't need to guess whether it can build something as complex as a Luzon Visayas fixed crossing. It has already done it, quietly, methodically, and under global scrutiny. The clearest example is the Metro Manila subway. 33 kilometers underground, 17 stations, over 355 billion pesos in total cost. The most complex engineering project in Philippine history. What matters most isn't the size, it's the governance model behind it. Japanese ODA financing enforced milestone-based disbursements, forcing discipline. Independent technical oversight protected engineering decisions from political interference. Administrative continuity across multiple presidents proved more critical than speed. As one Japanese advisor warned, mega projects fail when urgency outruns sequencing. Success is built in order, not shortcuts. This governance DNA, slow, strict, transparent, supervised, is exactly what a Luzon Visayas fixed link would require. Not acceleration, not improvisation, just steadfast consistency. A second, older example also reveals the transformative power of fixed connections. The Marcelo Fernan Bridge in Cebu. Completed in 1999 through Japanese ODA, the 1.2-kilometer cable-stayed bridge fundamentally changed Cebu's relationship with Mactan Island. Before it, access to the international airport was unpredictable and often congested. After it, travel times dropped by more than 40%. But the more profound shift wasn't mobility, it was economic geography. Land values surged. Tourism clustered around new access points. Secondary cities and businesses grew in the bridge's wake. Because fixed links don't deliver simple, linear benefits, they produce multipliers, new investment corridors, freer movement of workers, more integrated regional economies, advantages ferries can never match. And for trade and logistics, the gains from a Luzon Visayas link would be immediate, measurable, and permanent. With a fixed link in place, ferry lines, weather shutdowns, and vessel shortages would no longer dictate the nation's movement. Trucking companies could schedule deliveries down to the minute, not the day. Freight systems that are currently too risky for just-in-time delivery across islands would suddenly become reliable, routine, and scalable. Global logistics studies consistently show that reducing variability matters more to supply chains than reducing distance. With a fixed Luzon Visayas connection, today's uncertainty, sometimes hours, sometimes days, shrinks to a predictable window of mere minutes. Predictability attracts capital. Once the islands are linked permanently, vast areas of eastern Visayas, long held back by geography, would finally open up. Manufacturers, logistics firms, agro-industrial hubs, and export processors could operate as part of a single, continuous economic zone instead of a fragmented one. Tourism would transform as well. Integrated travel loops connecting Bicol, Samar, and Leyte would become viable not just for backpackers, but for mainstream tourism and higher-end markets. The example of the Owason Bridge is revealing. Within a decade of its completion, the linked regions saw an estimated 10% rise in combined GDP, not because of toll income, but because workers, goods, and capital were finally free to move. The social benefits are just as powerful. Faster travel means faster disaster response and medical evacuations. Labor markets naturally expand as commuting boundaries widen. Construction alone creates tens of thousands of jobs, followed by long-term careers in operations and maintenance. In an archipelago, mobility is not just convenience, it's opportunity. This vision doesn't come without challenges. The project demands multi-decade financing discipline, not policies tied to election cycles. It requires world-class environmental protections, especially for fisheries and fragile coastal systems. And the engineering is unforgiving. Deep waters, fast currents, seismic exposure. There is no room for improvisation. But with careful planning, technical rigor, and disciplined governance, the payoff is enormous. A Philippines where the sea no longer divides opportunity, but connects it. These risks aren't a reason to walk away from the project. They're a reason to do it right, or not at all. That's why, at its core, the real challenge isn't engineering, it's governance. Financing must rest on a foreign-assisted structure that provides stability, credibility, and insulation from political turbulence. ODA loans, the same kind that enabled the country's most successful megaprojects, offer the predictability needed for something this massive. Public-private partnerships can still play a role, especially in operations and long-term maintenance, but only after the biggest risks are secured under a disciplined framework. A project of this scale demands a dedicated national fixed link authority, a single institution coordinating the Department of Transportation, DPWH, NEDA, international partners, and independent civil society monitors. Without unified oversight, mega projects don't bend, they break. And here, transparency isn't a buzzword, it's the survival mechanism. Every major Philippine mega project that collapsed did so not because the ambition was too high, but because accountability cracked. Oversight splintered, discipline faded. A Luzon Visayas Fixed Link wouldn't just be a bridge or tunnel, it would become the anchor for the entire Philippine Transport Master Plan, a blueprint for future inter-island links across the archipelago. Technologically, it opens the door to systems that are already common in next-generation infrastructure. Real-time structural health monitoring, climate-adaptive engineering, renewable energy integration, including solar arrays or tidal power support. These aren't futuristic ideas, they're standard features in 21st century megaprojects. At a deeper level, the link targets one of the Philippines' most persistent structural weaknesses: unreliable inter-island connectivity. The nation has already proven, through the Metro Manila subway and the Marcelo Fernan Bridge, that it can handle complex, multi-year, internationally supervised infrastructure, if the discipline is there. And the lesson from all these successes is unmistakable. Discipline beats drama. Governance beats speed. Global standards beat improvisation. If the Luzon Visayas Fixed Link is executed with the same rigor, it will do more than connect two islands. It will mark the Philippines' transition from a fragmented archipelago into a truly integrated nation, economically, socially, and strategically, for generations to come.